They told me to silence my demons, to breathe, to count to 10, to stay calm, to pray the darkness away like it was some kind of disease. But I learned that demons don't vanish when ignored. They listen, they wait. And when you close your eyes, they grow louder, whispering truths that peace could never handle. I used to believe in light. In the fairy tales they fed me. Good conquers evil. Stay kind. Forgive. But the world doesn't bend for the gentle. It devours them. It dresses wolves in smiles and calls them saints. And it calls men like me monsters, because I refused to kneel. There's a storm inside every man. Not the kind you run from, the kind you build from. A battlefield where voices collide. Rage against regret. Guilt against hunger. Love against loss. Every emotion I buried came back with claws. Rage sat beside me at the table. Guilt slept on my chest at night. And loneliness, she was the only one who stayed when the world left. I tried to drown them in noise. Music, laughter, people, pleasure. Distractions dressed as cures. But silence always found me. And in that silence, the war resumed. A war not against others, but against the parts of me that refused to die. They say purity is peace, but purity is emptiness. It's the absence of all that makes a man human. His lust, his wrath, his hunger for more. They told me to heal. They didn't realize healing doesn't mean erasing the scars. It means wielding them. Every sin they warned me about became a language I had to learn. Anger taught me focus. Pain taught me patience. Darkness taught me vision. Because when you've lived long enough in shadows, your eyes begin to adapt. You start to see details others can't. Intentions, lies, weakness. You stop fearing the night because you've become part of it. I was never meant to be pure. I was meant to be powerful. Not the kind of power that shouts, but the kind that hums beneath the skin. Steady, unshakable, unyielding. A quiet power that watches chaos and commands it. So I stopped fighting the voices, stopped killing the parts of me that scared the world, and started listening. They weren't my enemies. They were my soldiers, each one carrying the memory of a wound I survived, each one waiting for orders. The world told me control was peace, but peace is fragile. It breaks at the sound of a whisper. Control is something else. It's not silence. It's the orchestra of demons moving in rhythm under your command. It's the moment chaos kneels, not because it's gone, but because it remembers who leads it. That's when I understood. The goal was never to silence the storm. It was to conduct it, to make every thunderclap move to my will, every flash of fury, every drop of pain, a part of my symphony. That was the day I stopped being a victim of darkness and became its architect. I do not fight my demons anymore. I lead them. There was a time I believed pretending could save me. If I smiled long enough, if I played their game, maybe the storm inside would fall asleep. I wore masks so heavy they became my face, smiled when I wanted to scream, forgave when I wanted to burn. I became good enough for them, never enough for me. I lived like a ghost, existing for peace I didn't even believe in. They called it maturity. I called it self-burial. Every compromise was a shovel of dirt thrown over who I really was, and I kept digging, hoping to find light underground. But light never came, only echoes, the whispers of my own demons laughing in the dark. Every betrayal carved a lesson into me. Every heartbreak wasn't just pain, it was an awakening. Like lightning striking the same wound until it refused to close. They broke me with kindness. They used my empathy as a leash. And every time I forgave, I felt something sacred inside me die. The world feeds on men who feel too deeply. It calls their silence strength, while draining them dry. And I was a banquet, served on my own heart. The ones I loved the most. They were the ones who taught me that peace costs obedience. And I was done obeying. But I didn't know how to fight back. I only knew how to endure. So I resisted, not the world, but myself. I fought my own nature. I tried to chain the fire that wanted to burn, to cage the wolf that wanted to hunt. The more I resisted my darkness, the deeper it carved into me. Every time I called it evil, it grew stronger. Every time I tried to silence it, it screamed louder. Because it wasn't my enemy. It was my unclaimed throne. There were nights when the mirror didn't look back. Just a hollow version of me, bleeding in silence. I punched walls to feel real again. I screamed into pillows so no one would hear the collapse. The world slept peacefully, while I wrestled with ghosts only I could see. Exhaustion became my religion. Pain became my routine. I would wake up numb, go to war inside my own head, and fall asleep pretending I was fine. No one knew. No one could. Because men like me aren't allowed to break. We just rust quietly. There came a night when it all snapped. The mask, the pretense, the performance of being normal. I remember staring into the dark and realizing it wasn't demons tormenting me. It was power. My own power. Starving, suffocating. Turned inward because I had nowhere to release it. That's what denial does. It poisons your potential. It makes you believe your strength is sin. It convinces you to chain your own hands, and then mocks you for being weak. But that night, something ancient inside me moved. A hunger, a truth, a whisper older than fear. It said, "You were never broken. You were just buried beneath your own restraint." And for the first time, I didn't resist it. I didn't pray it away. I listened. Because what I called demons were just my power turned inward. Rage is energy. Pain is signal. Darkness is direction. Everything I tried to kill was built to guide me. The storm inside wasn't my punishment. It was my compass. And that's when the war changed. I stopped begging for peace and started preparing for command. I was never haunted by demons. I was haunted by the power I kept denying. There's a silence that comes before betrayal. A strange calm, like the air right before lightning splits the sky. I felt it. That invisible warning. That tightening in the chest that says, something sacred is about to die. And it did. It wasn't the blade that killed me. It was the smile holding it. The familiar face. The voice that said my name the same way it did when it swore loyalty. You never forget that sound. The moment when trust cracks. When love turns into weapon. When a heartbeat becomes an execution drum. I had built everything for them. Every victory, every drop of sweat, every dream I chased, all of it tied to the belief that they'd stand beside me. But loyalty is cheap until it's tested. And when mine was, everyone I trusted vanished like smoke. I walked through the ruins of what I built. The walls still warm with fire. The echoes of laughter now ghosts in the ash. Every step felt like walking across the skeleton of my own past. The air stank of betrayal. Metallic, thick, unforgettable. In every direction, I saw reminders of what I lost. Faces that once swore love now turned away. Hands that once held mine, now holding knives. Eyes that once shined with faith, now reflecting guilt they'd never admit. That's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't come from enemies. It comes from those who knew your wounds and still twisted the blade. I remember staring into a broken mirror, 1,000 fractured versions of myself staring back, each one carrying a different failure, a different lie I believed. And in those shards I saw the truth. I wasn't mourning them. I was mourning the man I used to be. The man who trusted. The man who believed goodness was enough. The man who thought love was armor. But love doesn't shield you from the world. It makes you soft enough to be devoured by it. There's a kind of pain that doesn't scream anymore. It just hums, low, steady, endless. It eats your sleep. It poisons your silence. You learn to carry it like breath, invisible, but always there. I remember nights staring at the ceiling, feeling my chest tighten, my mind replaying every word, every moment I should have walked away, but didn't. That's what betrayal does. It teaches you every red flag you ignored, every truth you buried under hope. And when it's done teaching, it leaves you naked. No illusions, no softness, no safety. There came a point when I stopped blaming them. Because what's the point of cursing snakes for biting? They do what they are made to do. The real sin was mine, believing they were ever capable of loyalty in the first place. So I turned my rage inward. I became both executioner and victim. I burned myself for every mistake I made. I walked willingly into fire, hoping the pain would purify me, that maybe destruction could be redemption. But fire doesn't cleanse. It reveals. It shows you the bones of who you truly are once everything false is gone. And in that fire, I saw it, the last part of me still standing. Not the lover, not the friend, not the dreamer, but the monster they accused me of being. The one who never begged, the one who never broke, the one who watched everything burn and still refused to die. When everything was taken, only the monsters stayed. That line played in my head for nights. It wasn't despair anymore. It was clarity. Because monsters don't cry for what's lost. They rise from it. When you lose everyone, something strange happens. You stop trying to be understood. You stop trying to be good. You stop chasing love that was never meant to stay. You become your own God, your own savior, your own executioner. There's liberation in that. Cold, sharp, merciless liberation. You realize you were never truly alive while chained to the idea of being accepted. And when those chains finally snap, you don't fall. You ignite. The fire that burned me became mine to control. The same flames that destroyed everything I loved now bowed when I spoke. I stopped fearing the darkness because I was born from it. And I understood then, every betrayal wasn't punishment. It was initiation. A brutal rite of passage into becoming something untouchable. The world calls it madness when a man stops pretending. But I call it rebirth. Because to be truly free, you must first be forsaken. So I stood there, in the ashes of who I was, and whispered to the smoke, if I am to survive. I let the words linger, heavy, inevitable, unforgiving. I must become what I feared. The fire didn't kill me, it crowned me. There came a point where there was nothing left to destroy. The war was over. The fire had burned everything worth mourning. And all that remained was silence. Not peace, not comfort, just silence. Heavy, infinite, suffocating. The kind that forces you to meet yourself with no mask, no distraction, no audience. That's where I went. Into the dark. Not to escape it, to understand it. I sat in the heart of my own storm. No music, no prayer, no light. Just me and the monsters I'd been running from. They arrived slowly. First came fear, tall, quiet, dressed in the voice of every failure I ever lived. He whispered, "You'll never be enough." And for once I didn't argue. I just watched him. Because you can't kill a shadow by swinging at it. You learn its movement until it forgets how to hide. Then came hate. Eyes like flame, voice like broken glass. He told me to burn the world, to take revenge on everything that bled me dry. And for the first time, I didn't silence him. I listened, because beneath his rage, there was pain begging to be heard. And finally, loneliness. She didn't speak. She just stared at me with eyes that mirrored my own. No malice, no threat, just truth. I realized she wasn't my enemy. She was my foundation. The proof that I had survived every room that emptied itself of love and still stood breathing. One by one, I spoke to them, not as their victim, but as their king. I said to fear, "You will warn me, not rule me." To hate, "You will burn only what stands in my way." And to loneliness, "You will keep me grounded, not hollow." And they listened. Because darkness doesn't leave when you beg. It kneels when you command. That was the moment control returned. Not the fragile kind that breaks under emotion. The kind forged in silence, tempered by pain, sharpened by solitude. I stopped asking for peace. Peace is for the untested. I asked for purpose. Purpose demands fire. So I built rituals out of the ruins. Woke before dawn. Trained until my breath tasted like iron. Spoke to no one but the echo of my own discipline. Because in solitude, men don't just heal. They forge. The world calls it loneliness. I call it the forge of kings. The more I listened to the storm, the more it began to obey. The same thoughts that once haunted me became commands. The same emotions that once tore me apart became tools. Pain became fuel. Fear became focus. Rage became direction. I realized I never needed calm. I needed command. When you accept the chaos inside you, it stops trying to consume you. It starts waiting for orders. And that's power. Not freedom from the storm, but control of it. Now, when I close my eyes, I see them all still. The demons, the ghosts, the voices. But they no longer whisper weakness. They kneel. They serve. They build the throne I sit upon. I no longer fear the dark. I am the dark. Refined, disciplined, weaponized. And when I opened my eyes again, the storm was still there. But it wasn't chaos anymore. It was mine. Every lightning bolt, every roar, every drop of fury waiting for my command. The world won't understand what I became. That's fine. They never will. Because kings are not born in light. They are carved in shadow. My demons don't whisper weakness anymore. They kneel. They thought the fire would end me. But I didn't crawl out of the ashes to be gentle. I walked out of that inferno wearing it. Every scar became scripture. Every scream a hymn. And the man who burned became the flame itself. I don't seek calm anymore. I command chaos. I don't chase peace. I sharpen it into a blade. People think mastery is serenity. They're wrong. Mastery is control inside madness. It's the ability to stare at your own rage and tell it when to move, when to strike, when to stop. Anger still lives in me, but now it works for me. Heartbreak still beats in my chest, but it fuels me like thunder. Pain still visits, but it pays rent. I learned that discipline isn't cold. It's molten. It's forged in sleepless nights, in silent repetitions, in the refusal to die the same man you were yesterday. I do not meditate to find peace. I meditate to sharpen the blade. Every breath a whetstone. Every silence a strike. Every thought a weapon waiting for command. I built my crown from wrath, each spike forged from a betrayal I survived, each gem a tear I refused to waste. My armor? It's not metal, it's memory. Every scar that once made me hide now guards me like steel. When I move, the ghosts of my past move with me, not as chains, but as soldiers. They march when I speak. They roar when I rise. Because I no longer fight my demons. I employ them. They still talk, the doubters, the ones who left when the smoke rose. They whisper about who I was, soft, loyal, kind. They'll never understand. That man is dead. I buried him beneath the ruins of my hesitation, and from his grave I built my throne. Now, when they look at me, they don't see a man. They see consequence. A storm walking on two legs. A calm voice that can silence rooms. Because everyone can feel what it took to earn that calm. My enemies, they no longer threaten me. They entertain me. They are the audience to my evolution. Every insult they throw becomes applause to the fire that made me. They think I'm angry. They're wrong again. I'm awake. And awakening looks like rage to those still sleeping. When they come for me now, they don't face a man. They face everything they fear becoming. There is power in restraint, power in stillness, power in choosing when to strike, not because you're afraid to, but because you own the timing. That's what they'll never grasp. The most dangerous man isn't the loudest. He's the one who's mastered silence. The one who could burn the world and chooses to wait. The transformation wasn't rebirth. It was reconstruction. I wasn't healed. I was weaponized. They call it darkness. I call it design. I am not the villain of this story. I am the fire that reveals the truth. The light they prayed for always comes wrapped in flame. So let them talk. Let them hate. Let them fear what they can't destroy. Because every empire that betrayed me only taught me how to build one they can't touch. This is what they never tell you. You don't conquer the world by being good. You conquer it by becoming inevitable, by turning heartbreak into hunger, pain into prophecy, loneliness into discipline, and rage into a kingdom. That's what I am now. Not healed, not humble, not holy, but whole. Whole in my fury, whole in my silence, whole in my power. I don't fight for revenge anymore. Revenge is too small. I fight for legacy. For every man who fell and forgot he could rise again sharper. For every soul who mistook pain for ending, when it was just the forge beginning to glow. I've walked through hell. I didn't return. I rebuilt it and sat on its throne. I do not fear the fire anymore. I wear the crown it forged. The battlefield is quiet now, not because the war ended, but because I rule it. The same ground that once swallowed me now kneels beneath my feet. The same demons that once tore at my soul now stand guard at the gates. This silence, it isn't peace. It's dominion. It's the stillness of command. True peace isn't the absence of war. It's the crown that comes after it. It's what remains when the screams fade, when the ashes settle, when a man has fought so long that even pain starts to respect him. I used to chase calm like a coward chases escape. Now calm comes to me, not as mercy, but as recognition. The storm knows my name now. It doesn't rage without my permission. It waits for my signal, a quiet nod from the throne. I've learned that silence is not weakness. It's the mark of sovereignty. Only kings can afford to be quiet, because kings no longer need to prove they can roar. This calm, it's not the soft kind the world sells in books and temples. It's the kind that comes after you've burned everything false inside you, after you've tasted every version of yourself and chosen the one that cannot be broken. When you've faced your own madness long enough, you stop fearing it. You start wearing it, like a cloak woven from every battle you survived. There's a strange beauty in it, this dark peace. It's not joy. It's not relief. It's the quiet rhythm of a man who no longer runs, who no longer apologizes for what he had to become, who sits in the ruins of his former self and calls it home. Because only after destruction comes design, and only through chaos comes clarity. Look around you. Every scar, every ghost, every silence. They're not reminders of pain. They're proof that you endured it, that you became more than it. You've carried the fire long enough. Now it carries you. Let the noise of the world fade. Let them scream, chase, pretend. You stay still. You've already won the war they haven't even begun to understand. This is your invitation. Stop running from your shadows. Face them. Lead them. Let them kneel before the man they were meant to destroy. Because when a man learns to rule his own darkness, the world has no weapon left against him. So let the thunder fade. Let the fire dim. And let silence take its rightful place beside you. The throne isn't made of gold. It's built from stillness, from scars, from storms you commanded instead of escaped. And as I sit here, the world quiets, not because it fears me, but because it finally understands me. The storm doesn't end when I rest. It ends when I do.